See, I thought Donald Trump and his brain trust, and that word is doing a heavy lift in that sentence, had figured out legally how to accept a gift, no, a bribe from the Qatari government of a $400 million plane. I thought they worked that out already. But we got two new reports coming out just today after Donald Trump got around to finally listening to people who may know what they're talking about, like Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin from Maryland, a constitutional scholar that reminded everybody that this is a blatant violation of the emoluments clause of the Constitution because you can't accept a gift or a present from a foreign nation, even one that your business world, your Trump organization, and your sons just cut a $5 billion golf course deal for. We all see it for what it's worth. And now there's new reporting. Two new reports are out. One, we have leaks. This is the leakiest, by the way, side note, leakiest administration I've ever seen. And the more they try to clamp down on the leaks with, we're going to do lie detector tests, we're going to go prosecute journalists, the leakier it is, because the insiders are starting to resist and rebel. But we now have new leaks that tell us that they're still sorting out the legal research. If I had an associate of mine who worked for me, who told me this late after I'd already announced the policy or implemented the legal strategy, we're still working on it, they would be fired. That would probably be my last conversation with them. So we got that new reporting. And the second new reporting is Donald Trump's upset that the Democrats are calling him out for the emoluments clause, and he's lying about the gift. Let's just call it for what it is. He's going to get a temporary Air Force One that you and me are going to pay for. Taxpayer dollars to paint it, some gaudy color scheme of Donald Trump's creation. Taxpayer dollars to run the plane, taxpayer dollars to maintain the plane. We're talking millions, tens of millions of dollars a month as he uses this as Air Force One. After you and I have spent the equivalent of $50 to $100 million to maintain this phony Air Force One that was given to us by Qatar, a country tied to terrorism around the country and indirectly and even directly tied to 9/11, who just did a business deal with Donald Trump. After that's all said and done, it's like a leased car. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It's going away. Taxpayers don't get it. We don't get to use it. I don't get to go sit in the cockpit and get a pilot's pin when I'm visiting this new plane. It goes off to the Trump library. And Donald Trump is all upset in his social media posts. I'm going to cover it right here on Legal AF. I'm so glad you're here. We sit at the intersection of law and politics so you don't have to, and bring it to you just this way without blowing smoke or sunshine. Hit that subscribe button. Let's talk about it. We got to talk about it. Here's what we woke up to with Donald Trump. Jamie Raskin did a great job. It's not that hard, by the way. This is not a complicated legal analysis. Well, it's open to interpretation about the language of the emoluments clause. It isn't. It is not. You are not allowed in a position of public trust up to the presidency to accept a gift without congressional approval from a foreign country. Done. And if it's coming because of a business deal you and your family have done to put hundreds of millions of dollars of pockets, that's worse, not better. On top of that, I was just talking last week about the biggest scandal in presidential history, financial bribe scandal in presidential history, with Donald Trump using meme coins and bitcoins and cryptocurrency platforms to put billions of dollars in his family's business. And that's not a projection of the future. He's doing it right now, pumping up meme coins, holding dinners to sell it. And then because his family owns the liquidity pool, effectively owns the market, the Bitcoin or the meme market, they run the market, they get VIG, they get a commission on every buy and sell. He doesn't care about the value of the meme coin. He cares about the volume, the velocity of the buy and the sell, because he gets paid on either way. They've already put hundreds of millions of dollars in their pocket. But that was last week's scandal. Now, here's what Donald Trump said about this week's scandal. Come here on Legal AF to track all the scandals. We'll do a scandal tracker. It's going to be, like that thing Elon Musk put up, the wall of receipts. I'm going to figure out a way to do it probably on Legal AF Substack about all the scandals so you can keep track of it. Just Security, by the way, does a pretty good job of doing it as well. Here's what Trump said. So the fact that the Defense Department, and I'm going to unpack this for you, is getting a gift free of charge of a 747 aircraft to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One temporarily is in a very public and transparent transaction so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the plane. Anybody can do that. The Dems are world-class losers. Very public and transparent transactions, right? We haven't gotten any of the transactions, any of the transparency. There haven't been any announcements about the gift. It was broken by media. They're working on it. They're working on it. They haven't really gotten the offer. He's already accepted something that hasn't been formally approved by his own legal team, so the leaks say. So where's the transparency? That's the first lie. The second lie is how they've arranged this. Donald Trump wants this plane for himself. Donald Trump wants the plane and its $400 million value, a 13-year-old jumbo jet for himself. So they figured out how to do it like a shell game so we wouldn't notice, but it's so obvious that we all noticed. So the Air Force, under the Department of Defense and Pete Hegseth, who's so incompetent, they had to take away his right to pick his own chief of staff and put him in a rubber room so he doesn't hurt himself. That Pete Hegseth, fresh off the Fox and Friends weekend couch. He runs the Air Force by way of the chain of command. Air Force accepts the plane because it's going to be put into the stable of planes used as Air Force One when the president's on it. So you and I accept it, but this is like when you win a car on The Price is Right, but you got to pay for the insurance, the shipping, you got to pay the tax on it. You know, everybody's all excited when they win the new Kia, and then it turns out that you got to pay like tax on a $50,000 game show award that you just won. Same thing here. It's not free. Who's going to run the plane? American taxpayer. Who's going to maintain the plane? American taxpayer. Who's going to paint the plane? American taxpayer. Who's going to fuel it? An American taxpayer. Who's going to put the crew on it and pay for it? American taxpayer. You're talking about $50 to $100 million a year to run that plane. And we're going to pay for it. But at the end, we're not going to have a plane to show for it. At least when Trump left the last time, or Biden left, or any other president left, there's Air Force One and that beautiful baby blue jet, symbol of power around the world. At least we got it left over. And they're building a new one. He just doesn't want to wait. It was already authorized by the prior administrations. It'll be ready for the next president. It's just not going to be Donald Trump. But no, I want to use, Trump Force One for myself. So they figured out if the Air Force gets it as a gift, maybe this avoids the emoluments clause problem, because it'll end up where? Where does it go at the end? Trump Library. Trump Library, who do you think is going to be flying around on that plane as an ex-president? Donald J. Trump and his family, doing real estate deals with a plane that you and I paid for in the hundreds of millions of dollars while it was here. There's no transparency. Why doesn't Donald Trump tell the truth? There is an Air Force One that's being built. It won't make it in time for my presidency. I don't like Air Force One. I think it's shabby. I want to get another one. So it was either use my plane that I own, or, hey, a country that supports terrorism, one of our frenemies, is willing to give me a $400 million plane because my sons and I just did a real estate deal with them at the end of the month, the end of April, for $5 billion. And this is sort of a VIG, if you know what I mean, a little topper, a little bonus, a little success fee. And I'm going to loan it to the American people. I want to, by the way, this could be a tax dodge. I want to see how the taxes are reflected for this on the Presidential Library Foundation. Is this going to be a gift out to Donald Trump? Who pays taxes on it? You get a $400 million gift from another country. You then gift it again to the Library Foundation. Who pays the taxes on it? And I thought this was all baked already, like they had it done. I didn't agree with the analysis, but I thought the analysis was done. It's not done. The leaks out there they're still looking into it. The White House counsel and Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi is many things, but a shining light in the bar association or in the legal community is not one of them. That's not why she got her jobs. That's not why she was picked to do the impeachment defense for Donald Trump. It's not her brain power. You want to talk brain power? Then talk Jamie Raskin, Democrat, Maryland, Judiciary Committee, constitutional scholar and professor. But we don't even need him. It is obvious from the language of the Constitution. So what's going to happen now after we're done with all this reporting? Donald Trump's meltdown, the leaks coming out of the White House. We haven't gotten the paperwork done yet. Transparency about deal points that haven't even been revealed. Show me the contract. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to get a public interest group, American Civil Liberties Union, Democracy Forward, one of them filing a Freedom of Information Act request. Maybe it's Freedom of the Press Foundation. Freedom of Information Act request, a FOIA request, a public records request. Give me everything about Qatar and this plane. And the fact that you're jumping into bed with a country that we've already proved through our intelligence community was involved with terrorism against the United States. Give me all the documents. Separately, there's going to be a lawsuit. And I'm talking about maybe before this week is over, I'll be back talking about it. There's going to be a lawsuit to challenge Donald Trump's violation of the emoluments clause. By the time this video goes up today, there may be a lawsuit tomorrow. In D.C., assigned to a federal judge there, because we're once and for all going to get to the bottom of the emoluments clause and Donald Trump's flirting with disaster related to it since his first term. And then a federal judge is going to have to declare, no, you can't, a rose by any other name. We don't look at this is what judges do when they look at business transactions. We don't look at what you're calling the individual legs of the transaction. Air Force, the Presidential Foundation, blah, blah, blah. We look at the reality of it. We tear away the facade and we look at what's really happening in the transaction and the legs of the transaction. That's how you follow money laundering, for instance. And this is just this is a money laundering scheme. There. I've only put the fine point on it. This is money laundering because you're taking in something, you're converting it into something else in order to avoid liability. Federal judge is going to have to decide it on a lawsuit up to the D.C. Court of Appeals, up to the United States Supreme Court. May not be this summer, may be an early October 1st, first Monday in October term for the Supreme Court, but it is heading for the Supreme Court. I'm glad you're here. You're not heading anywhere. You're here on Legal AF. Hit the subscribe button. Come on over to our Substack, Legal AF the Substack, another way to support what we're doing here. And we'll support you by giving you the information and content you're looking for. And then, of course, head over to our podcast, Legal AF the Podcast. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popak. Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.